Hey guys, back again. My name is Billy Roberts. I'm a concept artist and illustrator. In this video, we're going to be drawing another dragon, taking it all the way from a sketch to a final render. In this video, I wanted to talk to everyone about the importance of drawing and how it actually plays such a crucial role in your painting. There is a decently large misconception around the process of going from drawing to painting, and in some ways it gets treated as two separate components. I'm of the belief, through observation of colleagues and other artists in my network, that it's actually more connected than what I think a lot of people think or know about. So I wanted to just discuss the general practice of converting your, let's say, approach to studying and becoming the artist you want to become, and converting some of your painting practices back to drawing practices, because there are a few things that I think just going back to drawing could really benefit if you feel like you're a little stuck with your rendering or your painting. Now, I do have a few comments I want to make. We could call them quotes, even, from myself. I'm sure other people have probably said this in the past, but I want to make this comment, or a few comments, and that can be held against me at any point. That's how strongly I believe this to be true. And that is, yes, you can become a good painter by painting, but I think you can learn to paint faster by drawing than painting. And there's a few reasons why I believe this. Firstly, if you can draw form, it means that you understand form. And if you can understand form quickly, you can paint form. Is it faster to draw form, or is it faster to paint form? And this is where this belief comes from. It comes from the facts that it is much faster to draw an object in its 3 dimensions and find out whether or not you did it wrong or you did it right than it is to paint it. The added benefit to this mindset is, once you learn how to draw all kinds of forms in perspective, and you learn the artistry of drawing, you can now apply your drawing knowledge to any subject. So there's no way of working out, in my opinion, if your way of working out stuff is, I seen how this person drew a face, and I'm looking at all of the marks that they made, I'm going to copy those marks, and that will mean that I'm learning how to draw that face. That is the complete opposite process that you should be undertaking, in my opinion. The process that you should undertake to be able to draw anything you want, in any way you want to draw it, is by practicing your mind's and eye's ability to see 3-dimensionally, and to be able to actually see the object in 3-dimensional space. And your drawing becomes an indication of three-dimensional space. And those marks that you see that you might find interesting, they're nothing more than that artist's indication of the three-dimensional form. So there is no point at that time in your journey to be replicating or copying someone's work to try to learn from it. Now there is a place for that, but I think before you go and do that, you should try to figure out where you sit in terms of, can I draw simple objects in perspective from memory? And if you can't, then there's many resources out there, at least to get you started in terms of creating that study material and starting to learn imaginative form drawing. So in today's video, we clearly see that I started with a pretty clean line drawing. That is a representation of three-dimensional space. That's why I use contour lines. That's why I use line weight. And that's why I use the way my marks are made, the way that you see it. It's a depiction of reference for me. It's my way of saying, hey, this should go here and that should go there. It's quite gestural, almost impressionistic of the three-dimensional form. Doing that allows me to get into a render in a way that I could trust that the anatomy is relatively correct. I'm not going to say it's 100% because it's probably not. The gesture is nice and the forms are reading. So in today's video, I just wanted to let everyone know, if you're trying to get good at rendering and painting, you first need to learn how to draw the object. So my second statement that I'll back is very similar to the last one, but it's, if you want to learn to render or you want to learn to paint, learn to draw first. This isn't a new theory. This goes all the way back to fine art. This is in schools right now, what I'm saying. People learn this stuff. They get forced to draw for 2 years before they get anywhere close to rendering anything. So I do believe that a lot of digital artists, and I would put most people in that umbrella, just general people that are doing digital art, they don't realize the power or the issue with jumping too far ahead too soon. Even the ability to touch paint can be a disservice to you and your journey in the program. And I've got many artists I can call out here as a reference that prove my point. And I'm not saying you can't get good at art just through painting. I'm saying it's going to be a lot slower to do that. And in some cases, certain people are actually better at learning from drawing, and certain people are better at learning from painting. So I do think that we need to wonder about that and question ourselves and go, how much drawing have I done? Can I draw? an arm of a human or of a creature? Can I rotate that arm almost like an animation? Can I do that? Can I draw every angle rotated 360 degrees in this perspective? And if you do that, you try it, and you can't, how are you going to draw a dragon? How are you going to draw a D&D character? How are you going to draw splash art? These are some of the hard truths that I want to speak about today. And I see a lot of artists doing this, and it's absolutely not a problem. I think it's awesome. Definitely have fun with the tool and enjoy it. But don't get to the point where you're wondering to yourself, why am I behind? I've been doing this for 4 years, for an example. I had someone reach out to me the other day, which brought this up. This is why I'm speaking about it. And they were doing splash stuff, kind of like from Riot. And they pretty much skipped the whole drawing aspect almost entirely. I would say, like, maybe to their name they had maybe 100 drawings in their art journey. And at that point, to me, it's hard to see someone do that and spend that much time brainlessly painting stuff, finding it very challenging and difficult, and getting frustrated and painting it again, and still getting it wrong, only for someone to tell them that if they can just practice drawing it, it's a lot quicker to find where the mistakes lay and the things that you need to improve at. And just in general, being able to say drawing in its foundation is what builds great splash art. It's what builds great D&D characters. It's what builds all of that stuff that we see, that we love. That artist that's doing that work, and the artists that are a part of that work, most of them will come from a drawing background. So please, my fellow artists, don't fall for this trap inside of this program. Don't grab the paints too quickly. Make sure that you have an adequate amount of drawing experience, so when you do move into painting, you have something to fall back on, and you have the structure to hold that painting up in a really strong way. So, that's the topic for today. Hopefully that can resonate with a few people. Hopefully this is helpful advice. Hopefully it may give a few people a wake-up call around the realities of how simple this craft really is. And if you're trying to draw dragons, creatures, fantasy, anything inside that realm, especially D&D stuff, right? I would highly recommend to pick up even a pencil and replicate form studies, replicate perspective drawings, and study that stuff enough to where you feel comfortable, and then come back to the painting. And I do believe 100%, without a doubt, that you will be satisfied with the improvement. And I back that 100%. The reason being, and a big big caveat here with this whole video is I didn't paint this dragon. I drew it, and then I drew on the rendering. Every contour mark that I made in the drawing was a guide to draw the rendering. It's really that simple. I'm not painting this image for you today. I am actually drawing it with a larger brush, but I'm following all of the same rules that apply to the underdrawing. So whoever made it this far into the video, that is something that I got told probably around 7 years ago. And when I tried it, I was like, everything started clicking. Everything started making sense. The ability to paint is held by your ability to understand form in drawing. Because the impression of form, the mark making behind the impression, that is what you transfer into your painting knowledge. So if you can draw really well, typically you can render to the level of your drawing. And this is why I back up the whole drawing thing, because it may not be super artistic in terms of its execution in the painting, but you can render. And for people that are interested in concept art, hobbyists, D&D, any of that stuff, drawing is more than you need here for every stage. So this dragon image was created with a drawing to start with and a drawing of the rendering to end. That's how I render. I render the same way that I draw. My marks, they follow the contours. My marks follow form direction. I push harder in the areas of ambient occlusion and shadow. I use bigger brushes in these areas. All of the drawing fundamentals transfer directly to rendering and painting. So, the reason why I'm saying all of this is, like I said, I had a few people reach out to me. They had some questions. For those people, I feel like there may be more that may need to hear this advice to set them down a decent path for their artistic journey. I mean well. I mean to try to help as much as I can. That's what this channel is about. If this was helpful, please let me know in the comment section. If you think it is going to benefit you, maybe you've heard this from someone else and I'm just reaffirming that, then also let me know. I'd love to know how many people are in this boat, because I used to be confused with this. I think a lot of other artists are confused with this, and I think it's worth communicating that clearly with no fluff, no bullshit, and just get to the point. That's the point. It's that simple. Learn to draw, everything else will come. That's my advice. This applies quite obviously to more generalist jobs, I would imagine. Like if you needed to design humans and creatures and props or something, I think drawing is the obvious route for that. 3D for dragons isn't going to be efficient at all, so that's why I recommend drawing still, even though 3D exists. And characters are in the same boat. Maybe you could get away with 3D for props, but anyway, that's besides the point. That is where I want to leave you guys with today, is don't confuse it. Realize how powerful drawing is. I have spent the last 4 years drawing. Most of my time is drawing. So take that however you want to. Good luck. Give it a go. And if you're interested, I have the Discord link in the description. It's an artist community where you can share your art and hang out with all the other artists. So I look forward to seeing you there if you're interested in that. And with that, here's the final dragon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.